Lords fans, we are back to do another movie review. In this one, Dane and I went and saw in the theater on opening night.
Feet up,
but
handicap companion seats.
Yes, we booked our seats, and for some reason they changed the theaters and put us in these handicap companion seats. So
it's like nobody around us for like 20 feet because it was those seats.
It was hilarious. But got a chance to see it out of the theater. Opening night, I would say only a fourth full.
Was that opening night?
Yeah.
That weekend?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought that was maybe they'd been out for a while.
That was opening night.
Oh my God.
There was I would say the theater was about a fourth full, meaning 3/4 was empty. So.
And you're being generous with
I'm
probably
being generous too. So. But, we are the Cult Lords. We're here to do that movie review. If you've stopped by our channel for the first time, we'd really love you to subscribe. Go down and hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button. We always need to get to double-digit likes. And then tell us in the comments what you thought of this movie, and do you agree with what we are about to lay on you right now? Because
lay on some, what does that call it? Lay on the law, lay on some smooth jazz. I don't know. What's that phrase?
I don't know. Laying down the law? What? I don't know. So we're gonna review this, but two things first. About to go into spoilers.
No.
So if you have not seen this movie, we are going to talk spoilers, and that's part of our discussion.
Pause it and get to the movie theater, and then come back.
Yes. Save this. Subscribe to us. Save this. Then come back to it.
Save this as a more possibly better entertainment value than the movie itself.
Yeah. And then the next thing, Dane, is what are we drinking tonight?
Oh, we are drinking Rebel.
Rebel.
100 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, courtesy of Monsieur JR over here. 100 proof, wheated, so it's not, which means less on the corn bill on the how they make it, but it's much less sweet, more earthy. Literally, 100 proof.
Out of Bardstown, Kentucky.
Yep.
Good old Kentucky.
Good stuff.
Bourbon. All right, I like it.
We've been enjoying it, Avi. We just opened this about, 20 minutes ago? 4 hours ago.
Yeah. So, and we've done other shows, so that's why we're here.
Oh.
So, now, Dane.
Yes.
We're going to talk about 65, starring Adam Driver. But before we do the Cult Lords ratings, which everybody's waiting with bated breath, I understand. I always like to talk about the Rotten Tomato scores and kind of see what the zeitgeist thinks about this. So I want you to take a guess.
Oh, I'm guessing because we don't look at any of these. I avoid it like the plague.
I know, we don't look at these. And I didn't look at...
You didn't look at them either?
Well, no, I did look at them right before we got on tape.
Right.
So I know these scores now.
So I'm supposed to guess.
So what do you think the critics gave this movie?
The critics gave it a 42.
42.
And the audience gave it a 63.
Well, you're actually pretty close on both.
Am I?
The critics gave it a 38.
Oh!
And the audience gave it a 63%.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like I almost knew, but I actually did not.
Yes. So critics really did not too many critics liked it. Only 30% of the critics liked it, whereas 63% of the audience liked it. So, but let's see what the Cult Lords rated this.
Yes.
With the Cult Lords ratings.
More important scores.
Yes. So, Dane, get your Cult Lords rating ready.
Make sure I'm straight.
Damn straight. All right, and here we go. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3! Watch out for dino poop.
I can't drive 65.
Yeah.
6.1, 5.2.
Yeah. All right. Wow.
I have to put that back in the cage.
Okay. All right. So, Dane.
Let's talk about this disaster.
You gave it a what, a 5.2?
5.2. This is the lowest I've ever given a movie, by the way, in our entire review process.
I think the lowest I did was Shotgun Wedding, maybe? Was it Shotgun?
You did like a 5.2, didn't you?
No, I did something under 5 recently.
Did you? I don't... Well, it must have been shotgun because you haven't given. There was nothing else you'd given a low score to recently, right?
I don't remember.
Nothing else you slammed.
I think there was something else that I thought was worse. Oh, Mind Cage.
Oh, that one.
I gave it even lower.
You gave below it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So.
All right. So what did you hate about this movie? Forget about this movie.
Let me start off with me and my mind of how I like always pick apart movies because of like what reality says. You know what I mean? So what I didn't understand is we have Adam Driver whose daughter is sick. Mm-hmm. Apparently, this society is so advanced they can send and colonize other planets and put them in. And then she's got a disease, which they can cure, but he needs to do a run to make the money because he doesn't have the money to cure his daughter.
Cure, yeah,
right,
like
with an experimental cure. Right. I'm like, so it's an advanced society.
Which is ironically 65 million years ago, by the way.
Yeah. They have a,
an galaxy far, far away.
Yeah. But they have a cure, an experimental cure, but he can't afford it. Oh, okay. So he's got to do this run where he takes people to another colony. Right.
He's the captain of everyone's in Cairo. What is it called?
Like cryogenesis.
Cryogenesis.
So they're in cryo.
So I guess the point is he stays awake the entire time for 2 years.
For 2 years.
And then
I almost thought like, okay, I can understand cryo freeze if you're going to be gone for 100 years, right. And you need to, you don't want to age 100 years. But if it's just 2 years, I mean, it's 2 years round trip, so it's only a year to the planet, a year back. I'd be like, why are you freezing?
I mean, around the globe used to take like an entire 2 years or whatever.
Well, and so like maybe they're doing it so they don't have to pack food and all this stuff.
Probably something like that.
But I mean,
saves money. But.
So here's the other stupid part.
But to your point, they gleaned over that entire. Why did they have to do it that way?
Here's the next stupid part. So the whole reason why the ship crashes is because there's an undocumented asteroid field that suddenly they come up on and they go through and it crashes. Now, number one, you're telling me he's the only pilot? Jane, you and I work in IT, and what do we do when you have important systems? You have redundancy.
Yeah.
So if there's a fail with one system, you fail over to another. If there's an issue with the pilot, you better have a second pilot to fail over to. Yeah. Especially for a big ship like this, carrying all this precious cargo, you're going to have one pilot?
Right.
That's so stupid.
It's not going to be a secondary. I mean, what happens if he gets, like, dysentery?
What if he falls and knocks his head open and there's no other pilot? So I'm like, why is there only one pilot? Number two, he's asleep in bed when they're hitting the asteroid field. So obviously he has it on autopilot, right? Mm-hmm. But you're telling me that they don't have the technology in this plane to like scan way out and see that they're on a crash course collision with it. Look,
it's not like Star Wars where they come out of hyperdrive and they're in the middle of it. Yeah. I mean, they've been cruising along and they can see everything in front of them for thousands of miles.
And Dave, one of the coolest pieces of technology he had on a planet was this little like iPad thing, which could see out in front of him and map. Oh my God. Right. There's a dinosaur in the mist that we can't see. It goes out and maps what's out in front of them.
And so you're saying never mind the constellation.
You don't have a bigger version of that on the spaceship?
They only made the mini. They only brought the mini.
They only brought the mini pad. The bigger one was not working on the plane, right?
I agree. I completely agree. It was
so like when when he's hitting the asteroids, I'm like, you're kidding me. They don't have the technology to...
And never mind the fact that they're that advanced. Their AI would have just said, I'm going to reroute. Like, I mean, come on. I mean, it's not...
Boom! They get hit one time. Let's keep going into it.
Yeah,
not like, let's not stop and pull out of here.
I mean, they make toys that do that. You hit something and backs up and goes the other way.
Yeah. Like, what was the old thing from the 80s, Pulsar, where you would like... It was like the.
It was like a little robot.
It was a
like
tank.
We had one of those.
Right.
And you program the
back. You program it in.
It's Big Track, the computer-activated tracker and the automatic transporter. Your child sends Big Track off on a mission by programming in up to 16 commands. Like fire 3 laser blasts. Big Track stores your child's commands. To get out of a tricky spot. To complete the mission, Big Track rolls in, drops the payload, then heads for home base and another assignment. Big Track for your child from NB Electronics, transporter sold separately.
So yeah, I mean, we had that technology in the 80s. You can't do that.
Remember, these guys are 65 million years before our time.
But they're
never mind the
enough.
fact. So this is the Star Wars crew, a long time ago, and it's also another like Prometheus. Humans existed outside of Earth, and because what happens when he hits the asteroid field? Because let's lead into it. He crash lands on Earth.
He crash
65 million years ago.
Yeah, they don't know that quite yet.
Yes.
But I think the thing tells you. I think it like literally says, and they crash landed on Earth. Like it says it in text, on Earth, 65 million years ago. So
right when coincidentally the Big Bang.
Well, right when the big asteroid that killed all the dinosaurs is about to hit.
It's the same field. You know. Huge coincidence, but we need a story to start somewhere.
So they land and every tube is or cryogenic
falls out, destroys, because they didn't build any kind of like buffering system for that kind of thing.
It's just so like
everyone was thrown all over, and somehow everyone dies except for one.
Right, a girl,
13-year-old who's had no space alien training whatsoever.
Right.
Literally, like if your daughter or my son had woken up on this alien craft and had no understanding of like how to deal with anything.
Run.
Alien species and
her parents had died in this, but what happens is the escape. There's I guess like 6 escape pods on this ship.
Oh, I thought it was. Oh yeah, right.
4 of them have been destroyed, and the AI that's still working on the ship says there are 2 remaining, and he goes, map where the closest one is, and it's like on the side of a mountain,
like the rest of the ship, with half the ship,
like several miles away.
Yeah,
right. So he gets out,
and that was basically the kickoff of the movie. Is figure out how to get to that half.
Oh, but he's got his little mini iPad that plots out a nice course for him.
I loved how delicate that thing looked too. Like really, it's like plastic. It was cool though. I will say that was a cool touch. But
there was cool moments like when he jumped out in that water and it felt like he was on Dagobah.
Yeah,
because that creature is swimming
and
by.
yet it doesn't attack him.
Didn't attack him.
It's like, if you're going to set that up, you better have that thing attack you.
Right.
I mean, come on. Just to give it a taste or whatever?
Well,
I mean,
you're just starting to learn how dangerous this world is. And,
it would be like if they went into the trash compactor.
Right.
And the creature was there, but then never showed up. They just saw it, like, floating around with that eyeball thing that came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there was just so many little things that happened in this movie. You were like, come on.
But, we saw the trailer, and we thought the trailer was pretty badass because there's a good plot here, a good potential plot here, right?
Yeah.
But you want to see, like, can man survive dinosaurs with modern technology, right? And he's got some cool tech. But what you find out is, you can survive, like, those big T-Rexes or whatever. He's able to take them down. But when you got 50 T-Raptor or Velociraptors coming at you, now you're in some trouble because you're like, boom, 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 and you can get overwhelmed so fast. You get overwhelmed
very fast.
Right. At least if it was one man.
Well, and the other thing too is that he was a complete idiot from a martial like standpoint, like a military standpoint. Like he's got all this advanced tech, but he wasn't like thinking it out the whole time. Like maybe we should plot things out while we walk along and figure out a better route. And,
so here's where I thought this story could have been better.
Yeah.
Is if he had a co-pilot, right?
Yeah.
The co-pilot survives with him, and then they find the girl. So then
maybe if the co-pilot's injured and he has to like carry.
No, he's fine.
Oh, okay.
But what you have is an argument, like an ethical argument between the pilot and the co-pilot about if they should take the girl along. right? Because the co-pilot maybe thinks she's gonna, be a drag on them. We'll come back for her. No. She's got to go with us, right?
Right.
But then, as they're going along, to show how dangerous this world, the co-pilot gets eaten somewhere along the way.
Right.
Like in a dramatic battle, what I mean?
To your point, that never happened.
Yeah.
They never
survives.
show the dinosaurs chewing on anybody, even
right.
the dead. The people in the thing. They imply it.
Right. So if the co-pilot is with them, and they take the girl, so now they're making their way, and suddenly, now it's Adam Driver and him battling out with a group of velociraptors. And they get overwhelmed and they just tear this guy to shreds. You know what I mean?
Right.
To show how dangerous this is, but somehow Adam Driver escapes it, right? And
to your point, I think somebody must have realized while they were making the movie that, hey, wait a minute, we need the dinosaurs to rip something apart, and they had them rip that little tiny thing apart.
Right.
That was it. It would have been much more dramatic to have him rip a human apart.
Exactly.
But somebody in the special effects department is like, no, we don't have that kind of dot and arrow.
Dane, there is only 4 movie credits to this movie, and one was just a voice only. So there was 4 movie credits. So you had his wife, his daughter, him, and the girl. And then the rest, all those people are like uncredited. So
right,
only
just faces
4
or
movie
whatever.
credits.
Oh.
Yeah.
So somebody was trying to save the money on the actors or something?
Yes.
To me, it sounds like whoever the writer was, whoever the producer was, like had this idea, like, well, I want to do what Will Smith did with his son, and what was the name of that movie? Jaden Smith.
I know what you're talking about.
Something like
After Earth.
After Earth.
Yeah.
Like it's another version of that.
Yeah.
But a reverse in the sense that Will Smith was strong enough to go along with the son.
Right.
In this particular case, it was like, Adam Driver kind of, ironically, like Joel and Ellie in The Last of Us, it was his daughter that he was trying to protect because we find out as the movie goes along that she did die.
Right.
While he was in transit because the little girl kept looking at all his video plays and finally ran into one that showed the girl was dead. So you find out Adam Driver's obviously so distraught. He wanted to kill himself at one point.
Yeah, he saw it. I think he was going to kill himself until he found the girl, right? So then he realized, I've got to save her. And then you're right, it's kind of like Last of Us. Suddenly this girl becomes his adopted daughter. He feels protective and must get her out of there, right?
But unlike Ellie, she's a complete idiot.
Yeah. Well, she's probably a little bit younger. She's not experienced,
but still, it's like I'm on an alien planet. I need to save the dinosaurs.
Let me go running to save that dinosaur.
Right. Let me go over here, and then I get scared when I get attacked. Because I was over here looking, and then when she eats the berries,
and she didn't eat the berries.
Well, how did
she was about to eat the berries, and he grabbed it from her, put it in his tester, and then it came up red, and he goes,
"Oh, maybe that was when I was hitting the John." So how did she get the lizard in her mouth when they were sleeping, and then she threw up?
Oh no, the lizard just came crawling up and
Oh, did they show that?
Yeah.
Oh, I was
just came up and crawled into her mouth while she was sleeping.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So you went and left, and then came back, and that's when they were pulling it out.
I saw the pulling out part. Yeah. So, I mean, that was probably the creepiest part in the entire movie. Was just that. I mean, nothing else was really impactful because it was like dinosaurs from a distance.
I mean, there was some moments where I thought, oh my gosh, that would be horrible. Like when they were tunneling through the back wall, and she goes ahead, and then suddenly it collapses.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, right? But, luckily they foreshadowed that she could whistle, and then she whistles to say, I'm alive. So he's like, oh, I got to get out of here.
We go back the other way, and then they, of course, set it up. There's a dinosaur down there, and then...
Well, we were joking in the theater how they set up camp, but nobody went to that back cave to see, if that's safe. But they set up, a perimeter
that little
around
perimeter electronic, barbed wire or whatever you want to call it. That's like, oh, there's a creature in the vicinity. But
right.
Really? You didn't look? I mean, it turned out to be a drop in there, right? But
because
they all fell in.
Yeah, well, what happened was a dinosaur was coming in from the outside, like a T-Rex. Kind of like Land of the Lost.
Yes.
Where, they need a
They needed to run of those giant stick log rods.
Right into his mouth.
We'll put that up right now. This is what they should have done.
Yes. So, but then, like, what happens is the dinosaur, like comes into the cave, and so they, like, basically jump into that back hole.
Right.
Not knowing what's back there. Right? And then, so they go through their little journey to...
Claustrophobic in the dark.
Yeah, come back to, like, a dead end.
Right.
But then he feels the wind coming through, and that's when they decided to
He
get
suddenly knows what the wind feels like in a cave. Because he's living in a space for the whole time.
So he goes out. She gets really smart. She found some sort of I don't know if it was a stick or it was a bone, but she actually crushed up.
It looked like a giant tooth.
A giant tooth.
It was in a
That's
in
a
that,
long
in that
tooth.
log.
Yeah,
it was in that log. She pulls it up and it's like giant pointed thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So she puts the poison on it, but that's not how she killed that one dinosaur.
I know. After she does that, there's no payoff to the poison.
She dropped all of those little circular bombs in there. I said, only one would have done. Remember?
I thought she was setting up where she would like plunge the knife into it. Nope. She throws all 6 little micro grenades in there. Like, that was definitely overkill.
It was definitely overkill.
And then later, after she poisons the tip of the thing, she ends up stabbing that into the T-Rex's eyeball, right?
Yeah, to save Adam Driver's life.
Yes.
Because they were in the middle of taking off, and this is where we had this stupid moment where they're needing to leave. The asteroids and meteors are coming down. You see them
crashing down.
But she has to have a dramatic moment about her mom and dad are dead, and she doesn't want to leave. And then so Adam Driver has a moment where he has to sympathize with her and talk with. Meanwhile, I would have just knocked her ass out, pulled her into the thing, and let's get out. We can sympathize later on. But no, because they had this moment.
Look at me. Look at me.
And spent useless time lamenting the death of her parents. Then they get into the thing, and then they get knocked down by an asteroid. And then that's when like a T-Rex comes for them. Happens to see them
again, and then there's multiple T-Rexes.
And he's now fighting them outside. He's like,
and she's still in there like, as this thing's pushing it around, and then it conveniently knocks it back the correct way. You know, right?
So she is projecting his daughter like through a hologram, and then when the hologram kind of like dies out, the T-Rex looks around, sees where that light's coming from, goes like charging in after her, right? So,
which of course she didn't think about.
No, nobody thinks about these things. So now the T-Rex is hitting the thing again. That's when I think the thing comes back online. Is when the T-Rex hits it again.
Well, it was like the wrong, and then it kept hitting it and hitting it, and then it came back online.
Yeah,
and then it was in the right position, back online.
Right, but he was able to kill that T-Rex, and he thought everything was good. Until like a third T-Rex comes out.
One of them had a really burnt face that came back because I think that one he thought he had killed.
Right.
And then it came back, and then they had to trick it over the geyser.
Yeah. So there was like 3 T-Rexes. I think. But he goes over and goes running into a field.
Juicy human morsels.
He's telling her, "Take off, take off." Meanwhile, I'll go over here because what he had determined was that. He had sent out an SOS, and they had picked up the SOS, and they plotted a rendezvous where they were going to pick him up. Mm-hmm. So he knew if he could get off this planet, they were going to be waiting for him at the rendezvous.
And then backing up here to the beginning. So he's on a 2-year mission.
Yeah.
Isolated, way out here. How the hell did that rescue ship show up so fast?
Well, but, I don't have a problem with that because that ship could be like some sort of Coast Guard kind of thing.
So you think it's like that?
Out in, a different area and it's showing up.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a problem with that. But, he goes running out into like a geyser field, leaves these T-Rexes.
Right. Like super burning
hot
water
I think
from
he
the
killed,
volcano.
Yeah, one kills or maybe, I don't know, maybe it's that one that, is trying to get at him, and she comes running in to save the day with that poison tooth that we talked about.
Right.
Stabbed it, and then it kind of like stumbled over another geyser, and then it was like...
That was it. It was toasted at that point.
Toasted.
Because it showed it fall over or whatever. And,
and
those geysers weren't acid, right? It was just hot super water. Hot, boiling volcanic water. It was probably yellow. I mean, they kind of implied they were in like a Wyoming, Yellowstone type area.
But it seemed like that the asteroid or the meteor hit like really close to them, and the one that everybody talks about that was the dinosaur ending event was down in Cancun.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought there was another one in Siberia or something. Wasn't there?
No.
You watched your what was that? That alien...
Ancient Aliens?
Ancient Aliens. Didn't they talk about that? They thought there was some giant one also in
But
Siberia.
that wasn't dinosaur ending.
Oh, wasn't?
No. They had one that happened in the 1900s that, like, when it came down, it, like, knocked down every tree in, like, a 15-mile radius in Siberia.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? So it was, like, a powerful one.
It was more new, in other words.
Yeah.
Right.
But, the one that ended the dinosaurs, which they show...
Coming in.
And then they show, like, the dead dinosaur at the end, decomposed. Then they show people come... Or, no, they show woolly mammoths first. Right. Then they show people. Then they show what looks like the city line of Denver, Colorado or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
I know.
Right.
That was very weird that they would do that, too, but... And then when they were, of course, right when the meteor hits, they're just getting away off the planet into outer space. Like,
and guess what?
Man, that timing was perfect.
Going right back through that meteor field.
That's been coming right at them. And somehow you have a ship that's only like an escape pod taking off.
Yeah, but, will there be 65 too? First of all, this is the stupidest title for the movie, 65. Yes. Because number one... what they're trying to say is this 65 million years, but just 65 doesn't imply that. It's just a dumb title for this movie.
It could have been so much better. I mean, and
I had high hopes.
I had high hopes too. I mean, they kind of implied a lot, and it just fell apart. I mean, personally, I think it was a bunch of special effects guys from the last Jurassic Park movie, or the producer. I wouldn't be surprised if you look at this and somebody's tied to those. They said, we did all this work to create these marvelous dinosaurs, and we got to pay off in some other way and keep doing it.
So this was written by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods.
There's the problem right there.
Let's see where Scott Beck
Never works when the director and the writer are very rarely in a quiet place.
Oh, yeah. It did say that these guys were from The Quiet Place and Quiet Place 2.
Yeah.
They had
but nothing to do with Jurassic Parks in some form, just because the dinosaur, I will say the dinosaur special effects were amazing. I mean, they really
I won't say
like
amazing, but they were good.
I mean, it was on the same on par as Jurassic Park.
It was.
I mean,
I agree.
They obviously capitalized on that.
And they even made some weird looking dinosaurs in there that looked like big lizard kind of things.
They were like sloths, and they were walking like really quick.
And I'm
like those are creepy.
I think they're taking some license because I don't remember seeing any sort of dinosaurs like that
in Jurassic Park.
Well, no, in just our museums and
I thought they were trying because sloths, they look like sloths because of the way.
But the sloths are mammals. These were lizards.
Oh well, that's true too.
So. No.
Yeah, that's true.
They were just weird, and I've never seen any dinosaurs like that. But of course, you know what? We probably don't know about every dinosaur.
Yeah, they were probably like
around.
You've been there 65 million years ago.
Yeah.
We're just gonna make up what. Well, the irony is they look like the creatures from A Quiet Place, because those kind of like had the same like little bit of a walk, but they could go much faster. They weren't like slow like that.
Yeah.
I thought they had the same like structure, the way that they
So
I don't know.
It
just fell apart.
It fell apart. This movie was disappointing.
Yes. Disappointing on all levels.
Yeah.
I mean,
there were some things I liked. Like I thought like some of the tech that he had was interesting. Like and I thought it was interesting, right?
But it would have been a much better movie if he had gone in and somehow woken up somebody from cryogen other than her. You know,
Right.
like, and to your point, like a pilot in there. Like, made it a more complicated storyline with different politics between, like, the people on the thing. Like, if they had said, oh, like, to your point, if there was him and a co-pilot, and him and the co-pilot were, like, fighting in a meteorite shower, that would have made more sense. Right? Because one's like, no, let's do this. And, you know.
But you know what? Like I told you, there was a
Just
TV
dumb.
show that I liked, but it would only lasted one season. It was called Terra Nova on Fox. And what had happened was, like, a big ship with a lot of people crashed on this planet that had dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was they realized they're not getting off this planet. So if they're going to live on this planet, they got to learn, what do they need to do to survive on this planet? And so what they do is they start constructing, like, walls, you know what I mean? And, like, living behind these walls in an encampment. But they know that every time they want food or, you know, water or whatever, they got to go outside these walls.
Okay.
And it was a great TV show, and then it ended in one season because it wasn't that popular. But I liked it. But, so it would have been interesting, like, what if you knew, okay, you couldn't get off this planet, and maybe they landed 66 million years ago. So, you know, there's a million years before that, and they have to live. You know what I thought before this whole asteroid thing is? I go, what if they became Adam and Eve?
Oh.
And they populated the planet or something?
That's a very interesting take on things.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because never mind the fact if they're human, they're obviously don't look anything different than us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they're blatantly just human. I mean, somebody said, well, look, it's Star Wars.
Right.
It's a long time ago, and they all look human. I mean, so we don't have to go that direction. Let's just keep them looking human.
Right.
But they never did establish, like, what race is this? Like, you know,
Yeah.
is this like an intergalactic from, you know, another side of the universe? I mean, they glossed over so many points. And if these guys are really, like, this high advanced,
Yeah.
no hyperdrive, no robots, I mean, usually a system, you know, that was another thing they completely glossed over, is normally ships would have an AI system that you communicate with and talk to. He never had any conversations with any ship thing.
And you know what? They don't really say in the beginning, oh, what planet are you going to that you're colonizing, and why would you be going through the Milky Way to get there? You know what I mean? Right?
Maybe they were going to Earth in the first place.
I don't
They
know.
never established
that. But, like, so why would you end up in the Milky Way? Because, like, if you're not using FTL, faster than light, like, engines, then you're having to take wormholes, right? But they don't establish, like, how they got there. Did they take a wormhole? Do they have an FTL engine? And they came out of it?
This whole script was written to avoid any kind of serious, you know, I have to explain anything. You know?
And sometimes I feel like an ass because I feel like I need all these answers to make it realistic.
Well, it's because that's what we're used to.
Yes.
If this movie came back, honestly, out in like 1983, you would have loved it because nothing else had been like that. I mean, you can say Star Wars, but that's it.
Right.
Now we've seen so many versions of this kind of movie.
And we know how you traverse space. We know all this.
Predator.
We've seen Alien and Interstellar, and we've seen Firefly, and we've seen, Event Horizon, and we've seen... So
never mind the Marvel superhero universe. I mean, they're technically doing interstellar travel in half of them. I mean, Green Lantern does it all the time, right?
Yeah.
So,
Captain
I mean, this
Marvel,
movie...
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
So...
I mean, they're constantly doing this, and this is supposedly, and that's our time.
Starship Troopers. I mean, there's so many things that, we can say we've seen this, we've seen how they travel through space.
Right.
Even Dune, right? How they travel through space.
And that one came up with a very unique way to explain it. I mean, most people are like, our ships just do that.
Right.
I mean, we don't even know what the heck they're doing in this, but somehow they're stupid enough to go through a meteor storm.
Right. I don't know.
Oh, let's just end this.
It could have been much better. I would love to hear what the Cult Lords viewers thought of this movie. What would you rate it?
Any of you that went painfully to watch it in the theater?
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? Were you just okay with it? Do you think our criticisms are warranted, or do you have different ideas? After you go down and hit subscribe and like, Tell us in the comments what you thought about 65. I can't drive. It's 55.
Yes.
But now they
can't drive 65.
But when that song came out, there was no 65 speed limits.
Yeah, I know. At the time.
Yeah. All right, Dave.
Now I think it's all 70, right?
Yeah. Get us out of here, Dave.
We're gonna crash into the meteor. You're in stasis, by the way, so act like you're in stasis. Bam! Oh, I gotta go knock on your door. Wake up! Peace out!